Last year in 2021, Tokyo Sexwale, ANC leader, accused the president of the country, Cyril Ramaphosa, along with a couple of other leaders in the ANC and in government, of concealing and assisting with the theft of a lot of money from the Reserve Bank, money that was designed to help South Africa build infrastructure, help with COVID-19, etc. He went and he did a briefing, and from there, some people laughed, some people investigated, journalists wrote some stories. And there was never fundamentally a deep dive into the allegations that he gave. It was written down as conspiracy theories, it was written down as Tokyo Sexwale being scammed. Now with Cyril Ramaphosa's case with the Palapala farm and the theft there of approximately 4 million to 8 million US dollars, which had been stashed in furniture and had been stolen by 5 people, 4 of them being of Namibian origin. Now, the case by Tokyo Sexwale is coming up again for myself and for other people as well. A lot of us don't really know what happened, and a lot of us obviously don't have the intel to be able to deep dive. But I said the case of Cyril seems to have raised more questions than answers. Why had he stashed money in furniture and not in a safe or stronghold? Why was this money not in a bank account? Does SARS know that he had this money? Had he paid tax? Or was this a form of tax evasion? Was money being laundered? Why were people buying game in cash and not EFT as per usual? Was he meeting the South African Reserve Bank requirements for how much foreign currency you can keep on your person and for what length? For me, I thought the initial investigation would be to check aggressively in that farm how much more money is still there. Not just in the furniture, but in the safe, in the cupboards, maybe if there's underground bunkers. Maybe scour the entire piece of land and see if there's any gold, any money that's dug up there. And then do the same for some of Cyril's other game farms and even some of his properties. And then don't stop there. Carry on and look at some other prominent people and see what money they may have stashed, which they shouldn't have stashed because it's a form of money laundering. It's a form of a violation of South African Reserve Bank regulations. And I thought this would also spark the investigation into Cyril Ramaphosa and Shanduga and even Pembani's link to Glencore and the work they did with Glencore with Eskom. Sadly, we're still waiting. I'm still waiting. I know our investigative journalists have dropped the ball over the years. A lot of them, we believe, have been captured and serve certain agendas. Some are obviously fear for their lives. So all we're left with is social media and our musings and ventings of what we think may be going down that we may not fully understand. I decided to go and read 3 articles that were written about Tokyo Sexwale's accusations. I recommend you guys watch his briefing, which is over an hour. Watch that and just make up your own mind. I've spoken before about how I believe money is just a game, and more than anything, it's a tool for mind control. Spoken about how the world we live in is like a board game of Monopoly, and the most important things are the tangible assets and our bodies that we have, and everything else has been built by human beings, and it's up to human beings to either believe it or not believe it, which is why I have my own personal issues with cryptos, of which I've learned that cryptos such as Ethereum have been losing value. Anyways, this was from themalianguardian.co.za, written on the 22nd of April 2021 by Sarah Smith. Who is scamming who? Sexwale says white spiritual boy trust is real. I don't suffer fools, Tokyo Sexwale said on Thursday during a press briefing about the white spiritual boy trust, which the ANC veteran and businessman insisted exists despite information suggesting it is a scam. Tokyo Sexwale was a huge ANC leader, and at some point he was looking to become ANC president. He became one of the first big BEE beneficiaries, setting up a company called Imvela Panda, of which Abu Cyril set up Oshanduga, for example. He had Imvela Panda and he was seen as a billionaire. He himself has got a lot of land and game farms as well. Sexwale told the media that the upper echelons of the ANC and government had known about the fund for 2 years. ANC Treasurer General Paul Mashatile, Finance Minister Tito Mboweni, President Cyril Ramaphosa, and South African Reserve Bank Lesetja Kganyago knew about the fund since 2019, Sexwale said. He read out a 2019 letter that he said he wrote to Mboweni about the fund, which is based in Singapore. Ramaphosa and Kganyago were copied in the letter, but Sexwale said he was left high and dry. Have they investigated this fund in Singapore, and have they given us, the public of whom they represent us? Our government is meant to be a representation of its people. The government is not meant to be an independent body that acts on its own right. It's meant to represent the interests of the people. Have they gone to investigate these claims in Singapore? I go in trust and confidence to my old comrades, and they go to journalists, Sexwale said, referring to a tweet by Mboweni and a subsequent joint statement by the Treasury and the Reserve Bank calling the fund a scam. Mboweni and the statement were responding to an ENCA interview in which Sexwale claimed that money from the fund was stolen. In the interview, Sexwale said that he and a very powerful family had raised billions of rands to clear student debt and for the fight against COVID-19. Why have the journalists not found out who is this powerful family that Tokyo Sexwale had spoken about? Following the interview, Mboweni tweeted, "Mr. Tokyo Sexwale's statement about stolen money is untrue, sad, and seems that he is a victim of the many scams that are abound. You cannot steal transmitted money from the central bank. How?" His statement on television was unfortunate. We'll reach out to him. The Treasury and Reserve Bank statement read, "Any claim that such funds are meant for deserving causes, such as COVID-19 relief, social grants, or grants for free education, are simply empty promises to secure the interest of the potential victim." According to the statement, the Reserve Bank's investigation found no record of the fund, and Sexwale was advised in writing that it was likely a scam. By the way, Tito Mboweni is one of the biggest gaslighters on Twitter. A gaslighter is someone who pokes you when you're upset. Tito Mboweni had spoken about a state bank, he'd spoken about nationalization before he was brought back as finance minister in government. When he was brought back, he became quiet, and it's almost like he never said it. As soon as he stepped down again, he started again speaking this stuff on Twitter, getting the black masses very, very upset, saying, "But you were in power and you did nothing." When people ask him questions about his time at the ANC, about what's happening with the economy, about unemployment, he instead chooses to post about things that he's cooked, in particular, Lucky Star tinned fish. You know, he at some point posted a picture of himself getting, I think, an honorary doctorate from the University of Stellenbosch, given to him by the Chancellor at the time, Johann Rupert, who is seen as the father of white monopoly capital. And he posted it on Twitter in particular, stating that this is for all the people that get upset, to show them that I'm here with my Chancellor, Johann Rupert. Again, poking and gaslighting at black South Africans who still carry the emotions and the weight of their apartheid legacies with their poverty. Tito Mboweni and other ANC and black elite who now sit comfortably with some of these rich white families. I know Tito Mboweni's got a great relationship with the Van Sale family of ZZ2 Farm in Limpopo. And it seems like these people have sold out. Not only have they sold out, but they poke at the fun and the poverties of the black South Africans that they're meant to represent. If Mr. Sexwale believes otherwise, the onus is on him and his unknown sponsor to provide independent written proof of the existence and or transfer of such funds, as well as certified copies of actual identification and citizenship of such donors. Allegations of theft of non-existent funds have no validity. But on Thursday, Sexwale insisted the fund existed and said he gets paid by it. Again, investigation. If he's getting paid, can people go and see the money that he's got, and how much is it? Has he been paying tax? And where's this money coming from? Especially if he says it's in Singapore. Let's go and find out. He also doubled down on his claim that the money is in the trust. The trust had been tampered with. The truth is stubborn, he said. Money has been tampered with. And again, in 2022, we've got President Cyril Ramaphosa who's got cash, which he claims is from the sale of animals. Is it money laundering? Where is that money coming from? Sexwale said the money from the fund had been moved around through commercial banks to other jurisdictions. The money is now being returned to South Africa in the form of investments, he claimed. Sexwale added that he had proof of money laundering. He urged journalists to investigate the claims. He had proof of money laundering. We'd like to see that proof. This is from businessinsider.co.za from the 21st of April 2021, written by Philip De Vet. White spiritual boy scam and Tokyo Sexwale. Documents claim theft of more than 100 trillion rand. Someone has misappropriated more than 110 trillion rand, mostly in gold, secured in South African banks, according to proof presented on WhatsApp groups and social media on Tuesday. This follows public allegations by Tokyo Sexwale about the theft. The amount of gold involved would be slightly bigger than the sum of all gold jewelry in the world. The cash amounts are also rather large enough, and then some, to fund the free education and poverty grants Sexwale claimed a foreign family intended. The 4 individuals directly involved in the supposed transfer of the money are not immediately answering questions. Suspect documents widely circulated on Tuesday suggest that someone has misappropriated more than 110 trillion rand, the equivalent of more than 50 years of government spending in South Africa, most of it in gold. That literally unbelievable wealth seems to be at the heart of allegations made by the magnate and one-time presidential hopeful, Tokyo Sexwale, that money intended to fund free education and give handouts to the poor had been stolen. The documents with references to the White Spiritual Boy Trust were posted to large WhatsApp groups and eventually on public forums, including the Advocate Barry Rue Twitter account, which has 1.3 million followers. The South African Reserve Bank and National Treasury on Monday linked Sexwale's claims to White Spiritual Boy Trust in a joint statement seeking to refute his claims on national television. Third parties characterized the document as proof of what Sexwale said, though there is no direct link other than the name of the trust, and Sexwale has not expanded on his allegations. One letter lays claim to the amounts that include $1.1 trillion, the equivalent of some 16 trillion rand, supposedly on deposit with First National Bank. That is some 54 times larger than the market value of the bank's parent company. It is also roughly the value of every company listed on the JSE. But most of the wealth would be in the form of 100,000 metric tons of gold, supposedly on deposit with the Reserve Bank since 1966, though not necessarily in physical form. At current prices, that has theoretical value of more than 80 trillion rand, but could be tough to sell without collapsing the world gold market, representing about half the gold ever mined, or just about the weight of all gold jewelry ever made. How exactly such a gigantic stash of gold was accumulated is not clear, nor is it clear how trillions of dollars could have been deposited into banks that did not exist at the claim time of deposits, or how the funds have been kept secret for more than 50 years. Who controls the supposed stash is slightly more clear, thanks to references to one Sam Sayomun B. Muri, or Sam Salman bin Muri, who seemingly instructed that money be transferred to a vehicle with his initials, the SBM Private Equity Fund. SBM is a real company registered in 2018, but it was unable to immediately shed any light on the events to which Sexwale referred. Of its 4 current and former directors, one said he would not speak to journalists because there are no ethical journalists, and one said only he was in a meeting and had no comment. The remaining 2, a husband and wife, said they were bound by non-disclosure agreements and would need permission to answer written questions. And in the interest of time, I'm going to read the last one. Also by Philip de Wet on the 26th of April 2021. New numbers around White Spiritual Boy suggest South African thieves can buy the planet several times. This is from businessinsider.co.za. A group of South Africans plus any foreign co-conspirators in their network now have the ability to buy the entire planet, according to a complaint being investigated by the police. Of course, this is sarcasm. In fact, they were able to buy everything on Earth owned by other people 7 times over. A report on the 13th of April 2021 claims theft and money laundering worth more than 41 quadrillion rand. The exact amount is somewhat muddled and could be anywhere from 41.3 quadrillion rand to 41 quadrillion rand plus a couple of 100 billion. A quadrillion has 15 zeros, whereas a billion has 9. The complaint is receiving attention at the highest levels of the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation, better known as the Hawks, which is tasked with investigating some of the most important fraud and corruption matters in South Africa. The criminal complaint covers, though it is not limited to, the White Spiritual Boy matter, which was catapulted into the mainstream by once presidential hopeful Tokyo Sexwale. The conspiracy would also involve officials at just about every South African bank and would have been enabled by others, including President Cyril Ramaphosa, who Tokyo Sexwale says has refused to act on the matter. According to Sexwale, the amount runs into trillions of rands. He has not named a precise amount. Very interesting thoughts, something for you to think about. And maybe I'm going to go and watch the press briefing again, see if there's anything that I can pull out from there. I know it speaks about moving from the gold standard to fiat, the fiat standard that we have now for currency. It speaks about John F. Kennedy and his assassination. It speaks about the assassination of P.W. Botha as well at the time. Penuel the Black Pen, let's keep learning about this world that we live in. Let's keep learning about corruption and corrupt leaders in this world we live in. And let's keep trying to insulate ourselves from corrupt governments, corrupt religious, cultural, business leaders, and try and live a better life. Love you guys very much. Penalism turns 4 years old on the 15th of June, 2022. Look forward to celebrating my religion as it grows. I love you. Cheers.